Dwayne, you wanted to talk about tipping and like just the tipping culture and all that whole situation. I'm gonna say tipping first, and then it can lead on to others, so we don't like harp on one particular part about tipping.
Oh, look, somebody mysteriously disappeared. But what you call it? This conversation started because I was talking to my girl, and she brought up that like she's in like the food industry. I think we was watching something on TV, and like the black people, they did not tip. I'm like, yo, that's messed up. So she's like, yo, like honestly, at work, if I see if there's people there, nobody wants to serve the table. If it's like a group of black people, because they're not known for tipping. And I'm like, I just started thinking about my friends that I associate myself with. Somebody might be wearing all black. But I'm like, all right, like it was generalized. I'm like, not everybody's like that, but I guess we're known as not being good tippers. And then I spoke to somebody else, and they said the same thing. They're like, yeah, like, and then like I go out with like most of my friends are black, but when I go out, I'm like, you didn't tip or you left $1? It's like, oh man, like I can understand where the tipping is kind of like the racist. Yeah, the service. So I tip. I can easily see that. I'm like, but I'm definitely a tipper. Like I have no problem. If you get good service, I might even go overboard. It might be a bad service, so I'm still gonna tip you.
All right, this is what I don't like. Why not tip?
Just automatically say in my defense, and because you are notorious for not tipping.
All right, no. This is what I don't like. And we all go out to eat, and if I order the fucking aroma noodle souffle, and then all three of y'all order a fucking steak cuisine, don't expect me to tip the same amount as you do. And I know a lot of people get mad at me. Yo, when we all on the table, we all supposed to put in an equal amount.
Oh, right? Nobody says that.
No, well, I know few. I'm not going to dry snitch. He would say, yo, and we all going to put in $3 tip. I'm like, wait, you ordered a $50 meal. My shit was only $18. Oh, but we all in a group, so we all just put in the same tip. I don't like that, yo.
But Ed, you're not supposed to, at least in my opinion, and tell me if I'm wrong, you're not supposed to base the tip off of what you ordered. It's supposed to be the service of the person who's doing the service for your table.
So if my plate is $10, your plate is $80, I got a tip, a $30 tip because you ordered an $80 plate?
We're supposed to split up the tip. It's not you're not paying tax on your food. You're paying a tip for the person who's serving you.
Yeah, lap.
No, so if I give a $5 tip, you give a $50 tip, you're not gonna get mad at me?
Honestly, if that's what you want to put in, yeah. But
no, that's not the question. You gonna get mad at me?
If I put a $50 tip and you put a $5 tip, like I feel like I tip more.
But your bill was $100 and mine was $18.
Yo, you still supposed to. At the end of the day, like at the end of the meal, you look at the way I usually tip is I just take the tax and I double it. So if we're all at the table, we take the tax, we double it, and then we split it amongst whoever's at the table. That's the way I see it.
And you know what? And that's customary. Like customary is 15%. It actually I've actually started researching it because I went down the rabbit hole and after Dwayne was talking about this. And New Yorkers generally tip actually more on average than everybody else in the United States. They're somewhere around 20 or whatever. But
because taxes, well, I mean, the way I look at it, what you say, Dwayne?
He didn't say Ant. He said New Yorkers, man. Talking about
Ant trying to like really grab on real quick.
Thanks, Cam. I appreciate that, man. We do tip good, man.
Because the way I look at it, New York taxes what 8.25. So then double that. That's like 1650. That's 1650%.
That's a little bit over, yeah. But the interesting though part was that there was two articles that was like pro and against. Like one basically laid out the whole history of tipping and where it came from and why it's like that. And then another one was kind of just talking about how tipping is outdated and it shouldn't be around because there's maybe about a handful of restaurants that are upscale that have started to do away with tipping. And what they did was they actually increased the prices of their actual menu items so that all of their wait staff and then everybody in the back can actually have a living wage and get paid what they should get paid, which I thought was actually pretty cool. Not everybody, and now these are very high-end and high-scale places, so they could do that and still not affect too much of their business, and it's actually worked out better for them. Now, if you're a smaller spot, whether you're a diner or something like that, I can see how doing something like that would probably mess your whole, how you run your business up.
But also, you guys also think that some of these restaurant owners also be trying to jerk over their
And
employees
and
by taking
that's one of the things. That's one of them.
the tips from people.
They were saying one of the when restaurants do that, they're trying to make it a scam, saying, oh, they're not actually paying off that extra money to the actual servers and all that kind of stuff. So there's a couple lawsuits actually that came up about that.
That's kind of tough because it's like I'm not working there for hourly rate. I'm working there off of tips. And if I'm better than, sorry, Ant, I'll use you as an excuse. I mean, as an example. But if I'm better than Anthony, why are me and Anthony taking home $150 when I'm obviously a better, you know what I mean, waiter or bartender?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I should be leaving with 400.
But
And-
you know why, D? Because there may be some days where you're not hot and I'm hot. So we might as well just we should make it 50-50 no matter
No,
what.
that's if we all tip out together. Like if that's the type of establishment that we work in and we pool our tip, I understand that. But in terms of like it's not getting tips and it goes like that's confusing.
But isn't it that most places they pool all the tips together and at the end of the night they split it amongst the staff?
They do. But
Not all of it.
what happens sometimes is people that the wait staff or servers or whatever, or a hostess, they're the ones that they're getting tips or whatever. But then people like cooks or busboys and all that, they might get less tips or stuff like that. So it's like this weird. I mean, across the board it sucks. I think because it's like you have a bartender that's making $2.25 an hour and then plus tips. And it's like, dude, if the bartender was making 10 an hour or 15 an hour, or to the wage of what his his skill level is, it would make a little bit more sense. But because again, this is a grandfathered thing that's been around for 100 years, and again, it's now it's the point where it's uniquely American now. Like, I mean, most countries around the world they don't tip, and that's because their waiters or whatever make a wage that's comparable to what they actually do.
It was great when I went to DR, and I know. Yeah, I make fun of my DR trip, but it was like one of the greatest things that all my meals were covered, right? So when I would go to like the restaurants, all I would do is have to sit down, eat, and break out. Like there was no like, oh, how much is the food? How much we have to tip? Like that whole all that anxiety that happens at the end of the meal was non-existent. So all I had to do was really just break out, which
Like
is
being, like being on a
dope
cruise.
feeling. Like yeah, like when you go to a dinner and you sit down, all you have to do is worry about like just enjoying your company of the person you're with. And at the end of the meal, it's just like, all right, we're good. Let's get out of here. Like it's such an amazing feeling.
I'm the type of person I would still tip. That's just me, man, just being, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
even if like it's included, I'm still getting good service. Like I'm like, all right, like you know what? Let me at least give this person a 5 or a 10 or something. Like, and it's just off the strength of like, all right, you did a great job no matter what. Like it's like, say like somebody invites you in their car and they drop you off and they're always driving you around and you don't give them gas, even though you guys are going in the same direction every day. I will start to feel bad, like, yo, I understand we're going here, but man, every Thursday, let me give you a 20 or let me do something for you.
Yeah.
You know
I agree.
I'm not saying the whole trip you had to pay every meal, Pope, but I'm just saying me. You know what I mean?
In general.
Yeah.
Like the other thing that someone was bringing up too was just like, just because you were a big tipper does actually that. Besides, if sometimes it is whether you go to a place all the time and you frequent this place, blah blah blah. But like in general, the people that tip like well, like they actually they actually on average don't really receive better service because maybe they're just that's the way they are. Like the people, yeah, exactly. Like I know when I used to live with a couple waiters and they would say the same thing that like just because they know what the waiter is going through, they automatically tip more because they've been in a situation where someone doesn't tip and like your girl was talking about with seeing black folks and how a lot of people don't want to serve them because it's almost like racial profiling. Oh, okay, it's black people there, they're probably not going to tip us,
But also, wouldn't that create a scenario where, as a waiter, and you profile a customer, wouldn't that make you already kind of jaded when you go over to them? So that would make them
I think so too.
make your service worse and make the people who are getting that service less likely to want to tip more. So
because they might read something into you might just stutter or you might not speak up enough when you order food, and it might take us, all right, this person, what's wrong with this person?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Like I was in a situation where I was at a bar and this dude next to me looked like he had a really really bad day. Like it was $5 beers, something like that for happy hour, and like he looked like a construction worker. Just sat down. He just looked like it was just a bad day. He had $10 on the table. The bartender came up to him, asked him for a beer. He got his beer. $5 was there. They left the $5 in front of him, and he was just drinking, like very melancholy. Just no one was talking to him. He finished his beer. He asked for another beer, gave him the $5, and started drinking. And while he was drinking his beer, the bartender kind of flashed on him. They're like, "Yo, man, do you work for free?" And the guy was like, "No." He was like, "Well, I work for tips." And he's like, "Okay, I have $10. I wanted to get 2 beers. That's all I have." And like the bartender was giving him shit for it, and it was like funny because I was like, even if and I understand where the bartender was coming from. Again, I understand where he was coming from, but at the same time, like, you know, if you were a quote unquote good bartender or whatever, you might have wanted to ask the dude, "Hey man, you all right? You looking kind of down," that kind of a thing. And the dude might have even said like, "Yo, I have $10. I want to get 2 beers. That's all I got." Like, at least he'd be honest with you, you know, if that, you know.
Some people just don't got it.
You know what? How much tips are you gonna get off for $10? Like, what's he gonna give you? $2 at the most?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like he ordered 50 beers. Like, that bartender was out of line, if you ask me.
I agree. And the thing is, like, are bartenders like that anymore? Like, because I mean, maybe because like whenever I'm at the bar, it's usually like kind of crowded, so it's never really a time for you to sit and talk with somebody.
That guy used to work at the marina, the one that we saw that we used to know from, what's the name?
Leo?
He's like that when you don't tip him. Like, if he don't tip you, he'll let you know, like, "Yo, my man, you ain't tip me." Like, "Yo, you gonna tip me?"
No, but I was talking about how like bartenders are mostly renowned as like
See, I wouldn't know that, Ant. So that proves you don't tip. Go ahead, Pope.
I tip. I always tip.
You know how they say like bartenders are like cheap psychiatrists? Like you go there and you talk to them about your problems and whatnot. Like does that bartender exist still? Like I know like maybe like Griff, because we've known him for a minute, but like and maybe like when we knew Nate, but that's like how many bartenders are across the time, you know?
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, the shifting.
It all depends on what bar you're at, because like
Yeah.
you might be going to a sports bar where this is really not time to talk, but so like you come at an earlier shift. Like I know a lot of bartenders from like the Whiskey Brooklyn Tavern in town.
La Nina too.
And they're all cool. Yeah, so say like there's a slow night on La Línea. Like there was one Saturday I had to go to work, and like this was like 2 years ago, and I came into La Línea and I was talking to Kim for like an hour and a half, yo.
Yeah.
And like it all depends on, I think, the speed of the place and who you're talking to, but those bartenders definitely do exist.
Yeah, like, you know, and it's the same with like, and happy hour is like a tricky thing too. It's like, you know, you go to La Línea, it's half off the bar, so you know you have $20. You're gonna get four drinks. So you know, in maybe your mind, you're like, okay, I got 4 drinks, I only spent $20. Cool. All right, let me tip $5, a buck a drink at minimum. You know,
that's good.
That's good.
But I've seen it sometimes where someone came in there, they had, you know, they got their 5 drinks, their $20, and then they picked up and they left, and they were just like happy that they got to have cheap drinks, and so
that's
again,
yeah,
exactly. So it's like I see why some people think it's like an outdated thing, which I kind of agree with on some points, but at the same time, it's like until we figure out a way to like that, you know, bartenders and waiters and stuff like that are paid on that normal scale like everybody else. It's like it's just basically it's like I said, it's an ending cycle, I guess.
And if you're good to the customer, I guarantee they're gonna come back. So it's all on you. If you have a good attitude with the customer, they're gonna come back. They're gonna know your name. They're gonna know who you are, and you gonna know the Monday crowd, the Tuesday crowd, all the way to Saturday. So it's all on you, pretty much.
The restaurant in New York that stopped accepting tips, what they noticed was that the quality of their service got better because now everybody didn't have to like feel like they had to do extra. Now they could just be a good, like a waiter, period. And so the quote unquote bad people that kind of slacked off, they rose up a little bit. The people that were super high, they kind of had a level, and everyone was on an equal level playing field because now they weren't like scrambling and trying to be better than somebody. They could just be a waiter and just serve normally. And so that in their experience, so it's a small. Again, this is a high scale like a Japanese restaurant. So I don't know how it'd be like a, you know, your mom and pop diner up in the Bronx or in Brooklyn or something like that. That could be totally different, you know.
Yeah.
But most bartenders, I mean, I have heard it. You know, when they're serving, they're doing a big party, and if it's majority of black people, they kind of groan because they're like, okay, we're probably not going to get tipped that much. Like it's like the first thing they think of.
Yeah. They'd be like, how many shots of Henny y'all want? Like when they do that, you're like, this place is racist.
I know a bar owner. He said point blank, he was like, I don't serve Hennessy because I don't like the people that drink it. And I was like, black people? He was like, no, all people. But he was talking about black people.
Of course. No baseball caps? The hell does that mean?
No baseball caps, no jerseys, no do rags, no. I forgot what's the other one? Oh, no Timberland boots, no. Like I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen that exactly. Like it was do rags, baseball caps, boots, no camo gear, no oversized T-shirts. I'm like, damn, you just like describe half the hip hop community or what?
Yeah, why don't you just say no black people?
Basically.
Word. So I know that I won't go in. Yo, lesson of the day, make sure you tip. And if you get it hooked up, make sure you tip a little bit more. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah.
Yo, that's true.
Until you get hooked up.
All right. And I'm gonna have video next time I hang out with a few of these fools that don't tip. You guys, of course.